Boy, there's nothing better than my cup of coffee first thing in the morning. Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Jobu. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. Because of that, you guys, well, this just doesn't work. Man, I got to tell you, yesterday morning I was going to my day job and thinking, there's not really a whole lot of stuff going on. It was the calm before the storm. Before Michael Bennett was traded to the Eagles, before Benson Moya was cut by the Cowboys, before Alec Ogletree was traded to the Giants. It's getting to be really crazy. It's going to be hectic as we get closer and closer to the beginning of the league year on the 14th, 4 p.m. Teams will be able to start talking to free agents 2 days before, but it doesn't really seem to be a drop-dead date anymore. You hear about all the trades that are being made. Sure, they can't be finalized, but, we've seen Alex Smith traded to the Redskins. We've seen Marcus Peters traded. We're seeing trades all over the place and people being cut. So, with that being said, it's going to get even nuttier. The Dallas Cowboys are going to need to figure out what they're going to do before 4 p.m. on Tuesday about Dez Bryant. And when that breaks, all hell is going to break loose on the internet. So we'll be watching and waiting and seeing what happens. And, you got two camps, of course. Some that think that he's going to be cut. I'm not saying he should be because I like Dez Bryant. But the reality is we need money. We are going to be over the cap once we do that first round tender to David Irving. Yes, we gained $2.7 million by cutting Benson, but we still need more. And if we're going to be a player and try and hold on to some of our free agents and get some free agents, we're going to have to cut some more fat. There's other guys. We believe Orlando Skander is going to be one of those guys that's going. So at the moment, it's quiet. We're okay. We can kind of catch our breath this morning. But I want to address something. I've been called a lot of things in my life. Old, ugly, stupid, technology challenged, too old for the internet, too old for YouTube, crazy, the N-word more times than I can ever count. But one thing that bothers me, and I've been called this by some Cowboy fans, as well as others, and the fact that all of us Cowboy fans get called, is bandwagon fans. And I had this guy, we're bringing back the dumbass comment of the day. Because this is truly dumbass. I didn't want to do this to people and things, but I got to do this. I got to defend the star, and I got to defend Dallas Cowboy Nation. Now, you can go through any fan base, and you're going to find some people that are fans because they're winning. I dare say, 15 years ago, there weren't that many New England Patriot fans. I could say 15 years ago, Seattle Seahawks, you didn't see any Seattle Seahawks gear anywhere, mostly even in Seattle. So let's keep it real. Teams will get people that follow them. I remember back when I was growing up, there were people who had a Giants, a 49ers, and a Redskin jersey hanging in their closet. That's a bandwagon. Somebody who jumps from whoever's winning to whoever's winning. My ex-wife, truly a bandwagon fan. I've seen her change teams at halftime by who's winning. That's a bandwagon. But this idiot, Danny Bear 02, says the Cowboys are the most valuable franchise in the NFL because they have the most bandwagon fans on the planet. Just like you, Mark Holmes. The majority of you started rooting for them because they won Super Bowls. You don't live anywhere near Dallas, yet you picked the Cowboys. Why? Doesn't add up. Well, let me tell you. First of all, don't pretend to understand how long I've been a Dallas Cowboy fan or anything about me. Yes, I share pretty much everything, and anybody who's been on this channel long enough knows how long I've been a Dallas Cowboy fan. I have been born into the Dallas Cowboys. That's right, I grew up into the Washington, D.C. area. And my first memories of life are sitting on the sofa next to my father, watching the Dallas Cowboys play and rooting them on. The reason he became a Dallas Cowboy fan wasn't about being a bandwagon, because he was a Dallas Cowboy fan before the Ice Bowl. And in case you didn't know, the Cowboys hadn't won any Super Bowls. In fact, the Ice Bowl was the game that led to the first Super Bowl. He was a Dallas Cowboy fan because he lived through integration. In fact, was living through racism. The Washington Redskins, even though teams had started to integrate in 1947, still in 1960, didn't have black players. Their owner, Preston Marshall, refused to integrate the team. He said, and I quote, "I'll have a black player when the Harlem Globetrotters have a white one." My dad, being a black man, being discriminated against, having to be bussed when he went to school, having to drink from the black-only fountain, not being able to go to the same movie theaters or drink counters, said, "How can I support a racist team?" I'm not saying things were perfect in Dallas, but that's why he became a Dallas Cowboy fan. And me being a little kid, sitting there with my dad, I wanted to be like my father. Hence, I became a Dallas Cowboy fan and have been a Dallas Cowboy fan all my life. Now, a bandwagon fan since I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area. Going to high school during the Redskins being good. Going to Super Bowls every other year. If I were a bandwagon fan, I would have become a Washington Redskins fan, especially since Richie Pettibone, the defensive coordinator's kids, and I were friends. We played on the same football team. His daughter was a cheerleader. Yet, the Redskins were winning Super Bowls, and I was still a Dallas Cowboy fan. Even when we were hearing guys like Dexter Manny talking about cleaning Danny White's clock, and then proceeding to do so, I was still a Dallas Cowboy fan. Long before the Cowboys became America's team. Back when they were originally known as the team that couldn't win the big one. They lost the Ice Bowl, last play. Bart Starr runs it in. Lost to the Colts in the Super Bowl. Great team, just can't win the big one. I was a fan there. So when you say fans like me make you sick, you actually have no reason to root to a team that's 1,000 miles away. Well, let's go ahead. Let's stop here for a second. Let's stop for 1 second here. There are only 32 teams in the NFL. And most of them are clustered in the same region. Within an 8-hour drive, I've got the Redskins. I got the Carolina Panthers. I got the Baltimore Ravens. I got the New York Giants. I got the New York Jets. I've got Buffalo. I even have New England. I got Cleveland Browns. I got Cincinnati and Detroit. So all those teams are clustered there. But what about the teams, the people who live where there's no team? Arkansas, Wyoming, Iowa, South Dakota, North Dakota, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Oregon, Nevada. Well, Nevada's going to have one. You get my drift? If there's 32 teams and most of them are in about 5 states, does that mean the rest of the people shouldn't be football fans? And now it's not like it was when I grew up. Because see, with the power of the internet, the world has shrunk. Everybody can get instantaneous information. See, when I grew up, it was a little different because you only had ABC, NBC, Fox, and CBS. And basically, there was no Sports Center. There was no ESPN. We had George Michael's Sports Machine, which had highlights, which was huge on Sunday nights. You only saw information on the other teams in the newspaper or Sports Illustrated that came out on Friday. So I can understand the reason why you had to be a sports fan of the local team. That's the only way you're going to get news on them. But now, everything's at your fingertips. So, dude, I still don't understand what you're talking about. Because the final point I have here is this. There ain't no bandwagon to get on with our Cowboys. We got 2 playoff wins since our last Super Bowl. And in that time, since we've won the Super Bowl, the Giants have won 2, been to 3. In that time, the Eagles have been to 2 and won 1. New England's been to 8 and won 5. New Orleans, they have won 1. The Rams have won 1. Green Bay has won 1. Excuse me, 2. The Steelers, they've won a few in there. Panthers even been to a couple. Arizona has been to 1. There is no bandwagon to jump on. It's not like we just won the Super Bowl. So let's get a life, buddy. Bandwagon my ass. I'm Mark Holmes, and I'm keeping it real. I'll see you soon. Hello, friends. CowboyJobu here with an unsolicited opinion on the Jobu wings. You were saying about the wings?
The wings are the best I've ever had. Hands down. Awesome.
Okay, well, we've been passing out our recipe. If you actually look on our YouTube channel, we have all the recipes for all this stuff on here. Oh, look.
Jobu with the women, with the ladies.
You know that. Okay, slide in a little bit here. Okay. All right, so on 3. Jay, get in there, man. Okay, we're going to do How About Them Cowboys. Okay? All right, everybody, on 3, How About Them Cowboys. 1, 2, 3.